Hello, this video is about check fraud and how checking account information is used to steal money from an unsuspecting victim. Hi, this is Dave at AFX Search, licensed private investigators. We deal quite a bit with identity theft, fraud, and institutional theft from a company or an individual. A lot of times the way the theft starts out is with a checking account that is compromised and money is taken out of it. Here's the thing, typical check that you may use to pay bills, whether you're an individual or a company, every time you write a check, at the very bottom there's a couple numbers. One is the account number and one is the routing number. What's not commonly known is with those two numbers, a fraudster or a thief can create instruments that can steal money from your account at will. One way to do it is simply with a wire transfer. They may be able to initiate a wire transfer electronically to siphon funds out of your account with those two pieces of information. They may also be able to create what's called a demand draft, which is basically like a check that does not require a signature that can be used to pay bills or to pay money into another account. They can also use that information to call up a check printing company and just order a bunch of checks. Most check printing companies, especially there's some online sellers who don't require identification and just send out checks to whoever orders them. So once you have either a demand draft, new set of checks, you can do a bunch of things with that resource. You can either divert money from the subject account into another account. You can use it to purchase money orders, which then can be cashed, and again, it has the same effect of stealing the money. Some fraudsters will even use that information to pay bills. We have all used online bill paying where if you have a bill to pay, sometimes for a cell phone company, you call up, you give them your information, and they complete that transaction directly on the phone. So how do you prevent this from happening? Well, an individual or a company can go ahead and create what's called a checking account firewall, where you have your main checking account that you use for your deposits and keeping your money in, and then you have a second account that's a diversion account. What you do is at the end of the month, you write all your bills, you pay your payables if you're a company, and as the day that you send out those checks, you deposit an equal amount into that firewall account to cover those checks. So that way, if that account is compromised, it only puts at risk the amount that's in that account. It doesn't put your entire nest egg or your entire fund capital reserve at risk. The advantage of this, well, in a new account, you might actually make some money with the bank of opening a new account. Worst case scenario, you have some protection against your funds being diverted from your main account. Just make sure when you set up that second account that you don't have overdraft protection that debits your main account, because otherwise it has the same result. You have those two accounts separated and firewalled. Some of our clients, we recommend even to go so far as to have that second account at a different bank. So if that account gets slammed and somebody's drawn money out of it, your bank either intentionally or accidentally won't pull funds out of your main account to cover those checks, which that's going to do no good for your firewall. Remember, everybody you give a check to or pay a payment to has your account number. They're going to have your routing number, you're going to have your account number, and your information about your company, the name and address to order other checks. So you never know where those payable instruments may not go. Even a receivables person at a small company might be grabbing checks or diverting information to a colleague to take money from your account. One of the cases we worked on, a guy in South Florida had some money taken from his account. We found that it was being used to pay for bills and pay for money orders. We backtracked the source of who was stealing the account numbers to a person at this person's church who was collecting the Sunday deposits, who was taking the donations from parishioners and taking them out of the box, reading the account numbers, writing them down, and then creating new checks. So it could be anybody. It could be your pool company, could be landscaper, could be your dry cleaner, and it may not be the person you give the check to. It may go through a few hands before it makes it into the bank. So it's pretty rare that you have this happen, but when it does happen, it's catastrophic. The reason that it can be catastrophic is you don't have a fast remedy like you would with a credit card. If your credit card number is compromised, you can call up and put a stop payment on those charges and reverse those charges. A bank account doesn't have that same remedy. You can't reverse them as fast. You have to go through a process, and in the meantime that money's all frozen and held up and you can't use it. Also, if you have this separate firewall account, you can attach a debit card to it so that your debit card, if you use it at a gas pump or in a restaurant, again, if that number is compromised, it's only going to put the money at risk that's in that separate account. So check fraud's a pretty big deal. You'd be surprised on how vulnerable your account information is every time you write a check. Keep that in mind. Who knows who's getting those checks or whose hands they're passing through. So for additional security or personal security information, you can click on the link at the bottom of this video. It goes to AFX Search, Licensed Investigators. We'll see you on the next video about security.